HD Smartcast.
You are listening to an HD Smartcast original.
Papa hai na. A sentence that has supported generations of young minds. A sentence that has created safe, secure places for children around the world to explore their personalities, build their characters, become well-rounded adults. But एक secret बताऊं? सिर्फ आपको बता रहा हूं. Fathers are fully supportive not only when they live for their families, but also when they live for themselves. Think of it. After all, they have to set an example. And examples are exactly what we will explore on this podcast brought to you by SBI Life. Hey, I'm Rishi K. I'm a radio host on 94.3 Radio 1. But I'll tell you what. My biggest sign of achievement is that I'm known as Tiara and Ira's father. I have an elder one, a miracle who's 9 years old, and a second miracle who's almost 3. And I'm extremely proud to say that I am their father first and everything else later. And I'm going to make you meet some fathers जो अपनी फैमिली का मोराल तो बिल्ड करते हैं ही, साथ ही अपनी लाइफ के हीरो बनने से चूकते नहीं. इसलिए तो कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ हम कहते हैं पापा है ना. Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast is called SBI Life, Apne Liye, Apno Ke Liye. I'm extremely happy to have with us today Chetan Shah. Chetan is a business owner and a blogger. He runs Soul Dads. It's really, really interesting. A platform which encourages single dads to express themselves and seek support. How are you, my friend?
I'm very well, Rashid.
Chetan, there's a creative person in all of us, and a few of us take a leap of faith. They bring that creative person to the forefront. And you are a business owner, support provider for your daughter. You're also a blogger, a community helper with Soul Dads. I'm really intrigued at how you managed to take all these jigsaw puzzles and put them together. So treat me as somebody who needs your advice.
Okay. You don't need my advice.
How did it all begin for you, buddy?
So, like everyone, when life hits you with a stick on the head, you sort of get a wake-up call. And we were all we all go looking for answers out there. But I couldn't find the answers out there. I was looking at all the wrong places, and when I started looking inwards, that's when the transformation happened. I took the tools out there for yoga, meditation, and I used those tools to transform myself for the sake of my daughter. What was happening, Rishi, was I was very uneasy. And that uneasiness my daughter could see, and she was absorbing all of that, and she was behaving in the same manner. And I said, I have to buckle up. I have to do it for myself first, and then for my daughter. I had to get a hold of my emotions. I had to get a hold of my mind, my body, everything. I had to put it all together. The jigsaw puzzle, like you said. I had to put it together. And that's when I started to write. There was so much building up in me. I needed a form of expression. So I started to write whatever I was going through on my phone first, and there were pages and pages and pages of it. And I saw the transformation happening within me. And then I saw the transformation happening with my family as well. Because I was changing. And so was my daughter. Right? So, Apne Liye, Apno Ke Liye. Right? So that was happening. I was living it. So I said, if it's happening for me, I would like to help other fathers out there who are in similar situations. If it's worked for me, maybe I'm not guiding them, but I was just writing about my transformational story. So that's when Soul Dads happened.
Fascinating. और ये बहुत ज़रूरी बात आपने कही कि अपने आप को सुधारना is the first step towards being an example for your children. And children are remarkably perceptive and intuitive. When you're disturbed, that child knows. And if you have to bring that stillness in you, is when you can impart stillness to others.
Absolutely.
So good on you, brother.
Thank you.
You're really living that philosophy, Apne Liye, Apno Ke Liye. Let's talk about your daughter. I mean,
Yes.
What is it that she teaches you in the way that she grows? They make fathers out of us.
Fantastic.
We don't make children out of them.
Correct.
Yeah. So every day there are moments that I'm perplexed by. They leave me stunned, and I'm sure, your daughter leaves you speechless too. Let's understand how she nurtures you, teaches you to be there for your own self and for her?
What I learned from my daughter through this entire journey was patience and resilience. She stood by like a rock. I was going through this transformation where I had to manage my business, when I had to travel to various yoga programs and sojourns that I was taking while this transformation was happening. And she was there. She always pushed me and she said, "Dad, you go, I will be okay." And she held on to patience. She never really broke down or cried when I was going through this transformation. She never said, "Daddy, don't go." So this is something I learned from her every day. And she taught me how to become a better father. I used to braid her hair, watching YouTube videos. I took her for classes. I took her for music events and things like that. She brought out the father in me. She made me not only a better father, she made me a better human being.
Wow. And all these celebrity dads that I meet Hrithik and I meet Saif and all these guys, and they say their biggest stardom or their hero's role was not on the silver screen, but when they hung with their children and spent time with them.
Correct.
And that's what you are to me. You're a real life hero, and I'm so glad that your guiding light, which is your daughter, is helping you become a hero, man.
I couldn't have asked for.
So what is it that you're still discovering about yourself? How has your family, in particular your daughter, supported you in that endeavor? Now I'm talking more professionally and a little bit personally.
Correct. So there's so much in writing. I started writing as a father, right? So my perspective was there. But as I transformed, my perspectives grew. So I started writing on topics like marriage, even socio-economic topics, my travels with my daughter. There were so many different angles that just started opening up. I could just write on any topic you gave me, giving my perspective of it. And currently I'm also writing a book. Yeah, it's about transformation, and the protagonist in it talks about the different worlds he creates while he's transforming. So I can write on anything. You give me a topic, I can write. So there's so many things I'm discovering about myself every day. But there's a genius in all of us, like they say. You just have to find that genius. And my daughter was the one, and my family was the one who helped me, throughout the process, who pushed me, to go in that direction. They never said, "Okay, you're from a business family, Marwari business family, you can only do this." No. They were very supportive, Rishi. They come from a religious background, and I went on a spiritual journey, They were entirely very supportive of everything. My daughter and my family have stood by me.
Hindi mein ek shabd hai. There's no way, unfortunately, the English language doesn't have an equivalent to it. It's called sthirta.
Okay.
It's actually, if you write in Devanagari, it's a half sa, it's like sthirta.
Correct.
And I noticed in myself, bro, that I probably didn't have that much of sthirta, that herao, around about the time my first daughter happened. I'm not for a moment advocating that you have another one, that's your choice.
Correct.
Who am I to tell anybody to live the way they are? But I noticed that with my second daughter, that sthirta came into my life. And children do that to you, You normally get very agitated by small things people say to you. If somebody comes around, turns around to you and says, you're useless, it affects you. But beyond a point, it doesn't. And that's what also being a dad did for me. Have you felt that in yourself?
So, like I said, Rishi, being a father has got a certain balance inside of me. I don't react like you said. I respond. The reaction is gone from me, That balance which has come helps me better in my business, in my day-to-day life, in my workings, my relationships, everything. But it has to start from you. And that's when, once it starts from you, Apne Liye, then you can give it to your daughter and to your family. Apno Ke Liye.
So Shahana and you went to Auroville. It was obviously a trip which you thought would be mental well-being for yourself and to her. How was that rediscovery? I think it's unheard of that a father and daughter should take a spiritual trip together, especially with the daughter being so young. I'd like you to share something that my listeners can take away from those little moments of wonder and discovery that you felt at Auroville.
So, Rishi, my idea was not to take a spiritual trip. It was more for her to be around nature. right? I mean, that transcends into a big part of spirituality, but being around nature was the thing. When my transformation was happening, I realized for my daughter, we've done trips all over the world, but, she was not living in a city like Bombay. There are very few open spaces here, except for Sanjay Gandhi National Park or the race course. There are very, very few open spaces. So this was the perfect chance for her to be out in the open. And the best thing about Auroville, there are a lot of activities there that people don't know for children.
I did some carpentry.
Oh, you did some carpentry. Okay, fantastic. So we did carpentry, we did Tai Chi. We rode a scooter, we went up the tree house. We did an activity which I had never done called clowning.
Did you get some agarbattis from the main store? You did?
Yes.
So tell me about clowning. What's that?
Clowning is an activity which you do with your kids. You sit around with them on a floor and you sort of just hug them. And by hugging them, you can get a sense of how they are feeling and what is missing in their life. And it wasn't only in clowning, there were so many other activities we did. We got to know about each other, right? So, and we overcome things like fear, anxiety, just by doing these activities. So this was one of the best trips I have done with my daughter. I've done Rishikesh and I've done others, but Auroville was this very special one because I got to rediscover my daughter.
And you went not for spirituality, but just to bond and enjoy the place.
To bond and enjoy.
And it was just a byproduct. Beautiful. Chetan, this was time so well spent. To me, really, you're a hero for everything that you're achieving. And you have your wind beneath your wings, which is Shahana. I wish for you all the love in the world and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Rishi, for having me.
Cheers.
करो पूरे अपने इरादे, अपनों से किए सभी वादे. SBI Life, अपने लिए, अपनों के लिए.
That's Chetan. Cheers to all the lovely fathers out there who are trying to be the best dads that they can be. That's it for this episode. This is a story of a father following his passion, fulfilling his needs, his aspirations of his loved ones. To stay updated on this podcast, you have to follow at HT Smartcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn, or simply just log on to htsmartcast.com. Subscribe to the Apne Liye, Apno Ke Liye podcast brought to you by SBI Life Insurance. For more details, log on to www.sbilife.co.in. That's sbilife.co.in. IRDA registration number 111. From me, Rishi K, it's adios.
This was an HT Smartcast original.
HT Smartcast.